Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm doing significantly better. Thank you for putting up with me yesterday. We're here to talk about Rasmus Hojlund. We're here to talk about where is Onana. I'm not saying that in a negative way. He's on his way. He's on his way. We'll speak about Onana. We'll speak about Hojlund. We'll speak about Manchester United. In my opinion, anyway, moving quite fast on Hojlund now that the Onana situation is done. I'll run through that. We'll speak about Dean Henderson to Nottingham Forest, an update on that, a positive update on that. Harry Maguire and West Ham, that was a confusing one. Marcus Rashford as well. David Ornstein yesterday confirming that he has put pen to paper on a new 5-year contract. Big news, big, in my opinion, very, very positive news for Manchester United. We'll run through that. We'll speak about the futures, well, not the futures, but the questions surrounding Ahmad, Hannibal, Pellistri, Kovar, Fernandez, Mainu, so many youngsters. We'll do that towards the end of the show. And there's other things in between. It's a busy time. It really is a busy time, but in a good sense for Manchester United. It feels like I don't know. It just feels like we're operating properly. As much as we can do before the takeover finally happens. But who's here in the comments? Good morning to everybody. As I said, thanks for putting up with me yesterday. I was not in a good place. Don't drink, kids. Well, just don't drink as much as I do. 2 days in a row. It's a stag do. What can you do? Teresa, good morning to you. Robert, good morning to you. Miss Teacup, Steve, you're there as well. Saeed, Ned, Derek, Kenny, Stuart, Ian, Susan, Simon, good morning to all of you. I can see it down there. I didn't know whether I was going to mention this, but I think I'm going to here. Right? Steve is down there. Being able to do one deal at a time, it's not moving fast. It must be exhausting finding negatives in anything. Constantly. And nothing else. Genuinely, it must be exhausting. I'm not just saying for you, but I just mean in general. Am I happy that Man United are moving, have got Onana in, and have got Mount in before our preseason started? Yeah, I am. Could we have done it cautious? Yeah, sure. We could have done it faster. But given what we were expecting this summer with a takeover, if there was going to be one summer we really expected United to dig their heels in and just go real slow, it's going to be this summer. And I think that's why I'm pleasantly surprised. Speaking about the takeover, there's a couple new members there. Let me give you some shout outs before we start moving on to this. Got this up there. Whoa! Wow. Jeez. Now I'm distracted. Javier, you've just joined as a member. Actually, no, you upgraded to a captain. Legend. I can't wait to launch these new membership levels. Jack, you just gifted 20 memberships. Well. That was a good one. That was a really, really good one. Big up to you, Jack, man. Whew. What are you saying that, Anthony, you're saying you're apprehensive about the takeover now. Hey, look, that's not something I'll disagree with. Right? It's not something I'll disagree with because I'm worried, yes. I'll always say that the financial situation of Manchester United, and I've explained this a million times, so we don't need to run through this. Like, the numbers are not good. Manchester United are not in a good money-making situation. You might say, oh, look, Sam, they're on for record revenues. Yeah, but we're still losing money. We really are not in a good place. And without capital investment, Manchester United as a brand won't go up in value. There is no significant progress or update to bring you on the takeover. And I was looking back through the thumbnails for the live streams that we've done over the last couple of weeks, and I was looking at, there's tons about Onana, there's tons about Hojlund and transfers and news. And there's not really been anything about a takeover for like a couple of weeks now. We spoke about it yesterday. It's kind of got past the point of being annoyed with it, being frustrated with it. It's kind of grown into an acceptance, and it's kind of gone a little bit quiet. The sort of as I said, there's no major update here. This is an article that was published by Bloomberg this morning, talking about the money in football, talking about Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos's wealth, and is that enough compared to what's going on in the world of football and the introduction of state money and how that has transformed the game. It was Abramovich that transformed it first, and then everything that sort of followed since, and the numbers are getting crazier. I don't really understand the need for Bloomberg to do this article now, considering that's a conversation that's like an old conversation, isn't it? We've had this conversation months ago. So I don't know. It's fine. It's straight. It kind of feels like I think Ineos just released a book, didn't they? And that was where Jim Ratcliffe gave that interview. Kind of feels like they've done it off the back of that. It's a bit of a strange one. Couple comments down here. Lyle, you're saying I hope we negotiate our socks off for Hojlund. We cannot overpay for him. Well, with Onana, and I'll speak about the Onana deal now, is an absolute bargain. That is a 10 out of 10 piece of business. The Hojlund one is basically the flip reverse of that. As it stands anyway, in terms of what Atalanta want. Jay, nice to see you there rejoining as a member, dude. We've got Liam, you're saying they're going nowhere soon. And I mean, they're going nowhere soon. Well, that's kind of the understatement of the century. They've just been dragging it out. Sigmund, you're saying, what's the likelihood that it's done privately, but won't be official until the end of the transfer window? I think it's quite literally impossible. It can't be done privately because if the Glazers sign any sort of deal that affects the publicly traded company, they have to legally announce that to the Securities and Economics Exchange Commission in America. So I'm sure they cannot legally do it privately. Stuart, you're saying, will Onana be at the game tomorrow? I'll keep an eye out. You can keep an eye out. I don't think you're going to be seeing him. But yeah, this is it's not an update. It's just this is where the conversation currently stands with the takeover. It's like more like background checks on or background, not fluff articles. That's kind of that's a wrong way to write it. But yeah, these are conversations we've had months ago because there is no update to bring you. There is no further movement. Still, I believe the Glazers have not even got in contact with Ineos or the Qataris since their bids went in. They're just sitting there going like, what is going on? Man, it's I don't know how. I honestly, for the life of me, I don't know how to describe it anymore. It's exactly what I think we all expected and feared, but it doesn't make it any less. I don't know. That's all I can do and say about the takeover anymore until we get a decision. But at least United are, I don't know, it seems like what behind the scenes at the club when it comes to like Murto, Arnold, Andy O'Boyle, Ten Hag, and they're all working together. It seems like we're doing as much as we possibly can with the constraints and the budgets that we have. And Onana is one of the big ones. John, nice to see you there joining as a member, man. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll try and give you a shout out if I spot your name down there in the comments. But Onana, of course, not the first signing. You can see him down there. You can see the price next to him. £44 million for Onana. Jeez. I'll speak about that in a second. But Fabrizio, what is this about? 20 minutes ago? This is the latest on Onana. Let's go nice and full screen. Don't see my face here. Manchester United expect Andre Onana to travel to the UK by tonight. Medical and the contract signing between Wednesday and Thursday plan to be confirmed later, but there is more to follow. He's already left Inter's training ground. So Onana is on his way. He's on his way to Manchester, presumably. Now, of course, the medical doesn't necessarily have to be done in Manchester. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure you've seen it before. Like, just medicals can kind of happen anywhere. Like the two clubs, the buying club and selling club, can agree it can happen somewhere else if it speeds up the process. But he is expected to fly in tonight, and this is what I want to speak about because this is yeah, man. You know how much we slate Manchester United's ability in the transfer market? Oh, wouldn't it be great if United can actually act like a big club, act decisively, and actually negotiate a good deal? That's going to go down as one of the, I don't know, it's not the cheapest, but the best value deals this summer. Manchester United agreeing that fee with Inter Milan. And look at that. Up front, Man United are paying £43.9 million for Onana. 43.9. That is a serious victory for Manchester United's negotiators. What word would you use to describe that? I mean, can you get 43.9 million bargains? I mean, I suppose you can, right? I suppose you can in the context of all the craziness that you see in football. It's not a bargain, it's a lot of dough. But for the player that we're getting, that's amazing. Now, Tim, you've left a comment there, which I think is quite important and probably plays into all of this, right? It's the fact that Inter got him on a free transfer the year before. Had they signed him for 20 million from Ajax, then this wouldn't have been as much of a bargain. But we slate and we criticize and we throw scorn at Manchester United when we don't do things right. So flip it round. When United do things right, and this is doing something very, very right, praise is deserved. That is so cheap for the quality of the player that we are getting. And Jay, you got so excited by that. You gifted 5 memberships. Jeez. Shaya, you said thank you very much to the man himself. But hey, I'm delighted with that. We should, in terms of when we're going to be seeing Onana make his debut, I asked you this question yesterday in the live stream, and a lot of you hoped it would be Arsenal. I don't personally think it will be Arsenal. I always thought Real Madrid, and I still stand by that. Real Madrid feels like the time when we will be seeing Onana in a Manchester United shirt in between the sticks. And it's going to be fascinating to see how quickly Man United's players get used to it. The fact that we got Martinez there is a big, big help. Martinez and Onana playing together before. I think Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, everyone's kind of going to be looking to Martinez for, tips and help on the right positions to occupy and where to go. And he'll be sort of leading by example in that sense. But I can't wait to see him play in the United shirt. He's flying to Manchester today, hopefully having that medical and the contract being signed by Thursday, and maybe Friday we get the Onana announcement. We get Onana holding the shirt up and we get his first interview as a Manchester United player. Hopefully that will happen before the weekend. And then on Saturday, of course, we've got Arsenal. Jonathan, you're reserving judgment on him as a keeper. Hey, look, what I would say here completely, right? Prepare yourself for some mistakes because they are going to come. All right. Prepare yourself for the errors because they are going to come. You remember in De Gea's first season, and I remember it clearly. I don't know why so clearly. And he was as skinny as anything. Brilliant at shot stopping. But there was countless occasions where balls went into the box and he just didn't come out for the punch. And he couldn't command any part of his area, 6-yard box, no part of his area. There was a lot of mistakes from De Gea in his first year, and there were so many questions asked. Fergie stuck with him, the team stuck with him, and he got better and better and better. Onana is going to do some crazy. He will make some crazy passes this year that make you go. Squeaky bum time is definitely coming with Onana, and I tell you what, it might even directly lead to a goal or two. However, the speed bumps are going to be worth the destination. That's what I would say. It's going to be a jittery path at the start, and we don't know how quickly and how smoothly he's going to settle in. But once he does, and once everybody else is on the same page and everybody is playing the way that suits his game, man, it's going to be. I'm so excited. This is Manchester United as a football team entering the modern game. Because you have to play like this. Look at City, look at Liverpool. You might say you don't have to, like Real Madrid don't do it. Real Madrid are a little bit, well, Real Madrid are just Real Madrid. They just do things themselves. Top Dog, you're saying he's got to hit the ground running. Who? Surely, I'm guessing you're thinking like media will suggest that. But United fans, we won't. We will, just like we do, support every player. It doesn't have to be perfect straight away. The issue is when you're a goalkeeper, when you make a mistake, it invariably leads to a goal. So the ability for you to learn on the job, you don't get much. Carl, with a really good question there, and I guarantee he said, Sam, will Onana nutmeg a striker? He's going to be doing little Cruyff turns, pulling it back. You're thinking, why don't you just pass it? What are you doing? Why are you taking a man on? Might even jog 15 yards out of his box. People compare him to Barthez. Barthez was a keeper, I suppose, ahead of his time. He loved doing that. And I remember watching it and thinking, what are you doing? Because it wasn't how the game was played at that point. Drop Barthez into the modern game, he'd probably be significantly better. Dean, you're asking whether he's a top 5 goalkeeper in the world. I mean, he's part of the conversation, is he? Where would you say Onana is in the top 10? Is he 5th? Is he 6th? Is he 4th? I don't know. I'd definitely put him in the top 10. That's without a question. Top 5? I think it's a debate rather than a guarantee. Tom in saying, until we sell the Deadwood, we're not doing all we can. No, and I'm coming on to that next, and that's why today's a really good show, because there's a lot of genuine big talking points. Jordan, you're saying, morning, people. What number would you give him? I don't think number 1 would work until next season's to see how he plays. Just my opinion. That's a really interesting opinion, I'll be honest, because it's not something that would even consider crossing my mind. Of course he's number 1. That's exactly, Ten Hag has gone out to get his new number 1, and that's Onana. Of course he's number 1. What number would you give him? Don't know. Ferdinand, you're saying top 5 in the Premier League. Humble, you're saying top 7, top 5, says Stuart. And you're saying, I hope Onana's going to be given the same treatment for De Gea got for his mistakes. De Gea was given a hell of a lot of leeway in the early part of his Manchester United career. A ton of it. Because we all knew we had signed a goalkeeper that had so much. So I wouldn't say compare the scrutiny for De Gea at the end with the immediate scrutiny of Onana. I would say give the same level of scrutiny at the beginning of Onana's. I mean, I suppose it's a little bit different because we signed a, what? How old was he? Was he a teenager? I think he was a bit of a teenager by the time. He'll get scrutiny. He'll get criticism, sure. And I don't know. That's a bit of a weird comment. Of course he will. But it's going to be worth the errors that he's making, because we are going to be heading in the direction that we need to as a football club. If we ever want to win the Premier League or the Champions League again, you're going to have to deal with the fact that our goalkeeper playing out from the back with the ball might make some mistakes. And it doesn't mean it was a mistake that we let De Gea leave. And it never will. Camila Cabello. I don't know that tune, so I'm just going to take your word for it. Yeah, I don't know. Some weird comments there, people. Some weird comments. Can we move on to the next talking point? I didn't even realize I had the screen up there. Rasmus Hojlund. He is the next talking point. I'm uncertain of Hojlund's, right? When we look at our transfers this summer, I look at Mason Mount. I think that's pretty much a sure thing. Sure thing might be the wrong way to describe him, but I'm not particularly worried about Mason Mount. I think by the end of the season, everybody's going to be looking at Mason Mount going, yeah, you know what? Yeah, fair play. That was a good signing. Onana. I'm not worried at all. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes, and we've just had a discussion about that there. But I'm certain that Onana is going to be the goalkeeper that Ten Hag wants in this team. Hojlund is... Hojlund's the biggest question mark, I think, is a fair way to describe it. I'll run through the latest from Fabrizio, from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail, from James Ducker from the Telegraph, and from Atalanta as well. Because he's going to cost a lot for the player that he is, at the age that he is, and at the stage of the development that he is. Now, Fabrizio Romano has released this morning, saying this, right? Manchester United are preparing the opening official bid for Hojlund. United are discussing internally about the bid, and from what I'm told, Atalanta wants something around 70 million euros. And that's a question I want to ask here, is how much are Atalanta genuinely asking for Rasmus Hojlund, right? Because you've got Fabrizio Romano here saying 70 million euros. And you'll remember full well, this was released from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic last week. Man United, it wasn't our first official bid. It was us going in with the concept and the offer and saying, all right, lads, how you doing? We want to sign Rasmus Hojlund. Would you do a cash plus Van der Beek or Fred deal? And they were like, nah, out you go. So that was our cash plus players offer, which they said no to. And inside this article from Laurie Whitwell, you remember this, right? Let's go down. Atalanta have placed a 100 million euro price tag on Rasmus Hojlund. And we go over to this morning from last night, actually. I'm going to run through the full article. This is from James Ducker from The Telegraph. And what price has he put? £86 million, which is, of course, the same here. So you've got James Ducker and Laurie Whitwell. So James Ducker from The Telegraph, Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, both, as far as Manchester United football journalists go, considered right up there in the top tier, reliability-wise. You got both of them saying that Atalanta have put a 100 million euro price tag on him. And you got Fabrizio Romano saying 70 million euros. Now, you might say, oh, there we go. One's unreliable, one's making it up, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just that I think they're clearly getting their information from different places. Fabrizio Romano is the man who has every single agent's number on his phone. His phone must just ping 24/7 during the summer. That's where he gets his information. I imagine Laurie Whitwell and James Ducker are probably a little bit more formal. I'm not saying they don't have Atalanta contacts. Also, I'm not saying they don't have agent contacts. But it's quite important there that there's two very different valuations there. One saying 70 million euros and one saying 100 million euros. 70 million, even 70 million, right, is a lot. I think with Hojlund, right, there's a couple of things. Number one, the market is absolutely bonkers. All right. It's just money in football equals stupid. And it's only getting worse and worse. And only will. And Atalanta, we've already spoken about this before. Atalanta is sitting there watching the Premier League just throw money willy-nilly in all these different directions, and they don't have anything of it. And all of a sudden, someone wants to sign Rasmus Hojlund from them, and they're like, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah. 70 million, 100 million, God knows what. A lot of money. They're putting an inflated price on him because of the Premier League's Super League status, effectively. And also, there's kind of a distinct lack of top-level strikers available in this current market. We know full well if Erik ten Hag got the man he wanted, we wouldn't even be looking at Hojlund. We'd already have Harry Kane, but then we probably wouldn't have Onana, which is an interesting one. I wonder what you do that as a debate. Maybe not a debate. Got an idea for a question. Anyway, Kane was who we wanted. And then we looked elsewhere. And the main strikers on that list were Kolo Muani, Rasmus Hojlund, and Gonzalo Ramos. Probably the three that you put there. But, mate, has anybody even mentioned Victor Osimhen's name since, I don't know, the first week of the window? Not at all. Going into the summer, pretty sure it was Osimhen who was top of the majority of people's lists. Osimhen's got to be the guy. Osimhen's got to be the guy. Osimhen. No one's even mentioning him. Not even a peep about Osimhen because Napoli have they priced him out of a move on purpose. They don't want to sell him. What was it 120, 150 mil? Something stupid like that. It's the exact same as the summer that Dortmund didn't want to sell Sancho. So they just put a dumb number on him and they sold him the next summer. Osimhen will leave next summer. Maybe to Bayern Munich and we sign Harry Kane on free. Yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, I agree with all of you. Right? This dude, he is overpriced. But what would you rather have? Man United sign an overpriced striker or Man United not sign a striker this summer? I think I know what the answer to that question is. That was a rhetorical question. Of course, we'd rather overpay for someone like Hojlund. But I think what I'm saying here is if Man United do sign Hojlund and we overpay for him, I think this is more to do with the state of the football market than it is to do with Manchester United's lack of ability to negotiate. Maybe it's a little bit of both, right? Jonathan, you're saying play Felix instead as a false nine? Hell, why does anybody want Felix? I honestly find that one a bit strange. I understand that he's a really good player, but I look at the profile of what we need, and Felix just he doesn't not tick the box at all. Doesn't match those. No, not even in the slightest. Let's see what else you're saying down here in the comments. Yeah, what? Right, firing. I'm going to read this article from James Ducker on Hojlund, but Fabrizio said that first bid's coming in, and I think I mentioned at the start. I'm saying it feels like United. That's acting quite decisively. Now that the Onana situation is done, you might say, why can't we just bid for two things at once? And we have been. We've been having these conversations, but in terms of actually laying the bids down, we haven't done that until the Onana situation's done. But both Mount and Onana are done now, and Hojlund, the first bid's coming in. And it's the 18th of July, and we're still 4 weeks away from the start of the Premier League. That's good news. Last summer, we were signing Casemiro and Anthony after we'd lost to Brighton and Brentford in the first and second games of the season. That's not getting stuff done fast. This is far better. Could be faster, sure. But what are you saying down here? Ashley Nussey joined there as a member, dude. A couple of super chats. Let me read these out. Jonathan, if Kane was still an option, we'd never be paying that much for him. He'd be a backup striker choice. Even with the United tax, I think 70 million is high. I do as well, Jonathan. I do. Then you have to think, how much did we pay for Ahmad? We paid like what? I think it was something that like rose to somewhere in the region of like the mid-30s. I suppose, yeah, it's not that much. But he played like a very few minutes of first-team football. Garlic Romani saying, if it is 70 to 85 that gets us a decent striker, we might as well move to get Gonzalo Ramos from Benfica. Look, I find the Gonzalo Ramos one is a little bit strange. I expected there to be a lot more noise around him this summer than there is. I don't think anyone's really being priced out of a move either. It's just that no one really is looking at him. But who's been linked with him? Let me know in the comments, because I really haven't seen anybody. Like, you might get tentatively linked, and let's be honest, I think we know a little thing or two about tentative links, but I haven't seen anybody mega going after Gonzalo Ramos. What are you saying in the comments down here? Would you take Ramos or Mwani ahead of Hojlund if the price is 80 mil? Yeah, I think I would. On paper, Hojlund's exciting, I have to say. The style of play that he is, his physique, he's an exciting prospect, but he's a prospect. Ramos, you saw at the World Cup. It's kind of the in-between, isn't it? Mwani is your most developed of the three. Ramos is halfway between Hojlund and Mwani, and then Hojlund is that one at the bottom that, you know, if we sign him right and we get it right, he could be an unbelievable signing. Could be, might not be, but could be. And it's that potential that adds a few million onto the price tag. What are you saying down here in the comments? I didn't miss super chat. Don't worry about that. I might not read it at the exact same time it's on screen, but I will go back to it. I've got a separate button here. Would I get Lukaku as a backup? No, Bully. Less comments. No, I'm not joking. No. No. I wouldn't. How do you feel on Taremi? It's another one. Is that the Porto striker? I think it's a Porto striker. It's I don't know. Let me read out this article. Hojlund is obviously, I think, it's the price that people are frustrated with, more than the concept of signing a player with potential. Because let's be honest, if you're signing someone for 70 million euros, you're not signing someone who's got potential. On paper, you are signing somebody there that you expect to make a significant difference to your quality starting 11. Whereas in reality, Hojlund would be a prospect. would be someone that we would have to just not write off his first season, but we would have to say, it's his first season in the Premier League. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. That's what it would be if we signed Hojlund. Let me see what James Ducker's actually written on him. Man United are expected to intensify their pursuit of Rasmus Hojlund once they've wrapped up that deal for Onana. Ten Hag's priority this summer has been the recruitment of a top-class goalkeeper to replace De Gea. We know that. With Onana transfer on the verge of being completed, attention will now turn to Hojlund. Rashford with that new deal. Ten Hag has identified Hojlund as a priority target after the club backed away from Kane. We've already been informed by Atalanta during initial talks that they are not interested in taking players in exchange. We've already did that. We've already spoken about that before. But Atalanta are putting that price tag on him. 9 goals in 32 matches is not a not an 86 million pound striker. Man, that's like how much we pay for Pogba. How many years ago was that? 5? 6? I think it was 6. I think it was 2017. That's how much the game has, don't know, just inflated since then. That all of a sudden we're going to pay the same amount of money, if not actually more money, for Hojlund than we did to bring Paul Pogba back to the club when he was technically at his peak. So he's actually gone well since then. What else are you saying down here in the comments? Jason is saying, get Hojlund and let Benny do the rest. Hey, look. Rashford certainly improved last year. And I'm really looking forward to having a chat about Rashford in a minute, by the way. He signed that new 5-year contract. We're going to speak about it. Ankit is saying Hojlund's too good to pass up on. You can't say that with any sort of mega confidence. But he's been identified as a striker. United are going to be going in for him. Fabrizio Romano is saying 70 million is the price tag. The Athletic and the Telegraph are saying more towards 100 million euros anyway. Let's find out what goes on. It's what we pay for Maguire. Oh, geez, man. Yeah, football's crazy. But of course, this is an interesting one. And this is one that we should definitely be keeping an eye on in the background, right? But Amrabat. If Man United sell really well this summer, then there is a possibility that we can sign someone like Amrabat. That will only come, you can see there, talking about the exits of Fred and Van der Beek. And if you think about that on paper, right, I did a tweet about this yesterday. If you get Fred and Van der Beek leaving Manchester United, and you get what? 40, 45 million, maybe 40, 45. And then you bring in Mason Mount and Sofian Amrabat for what? 55. Let's say he's worth 38. Probably a net 40, 45 million. That is a significant increase and improvement in the quality of our Manchester United midfield, with those two leaving and those two coming in. Fred and Van der Beek out, with Amrabat and Mount in. So that's one to watch, one to keep your eye on. But this really does depend on sales, which leads us into the next talking point. And that's why I said we've got a busy show. I'm only halfway through my tabs, people, which means there's still plenty more talking points. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you can. And I am so rubbish at doing this. I really am. But please, ladies and gents, grab yourself your ticket to win a holiday. I should have put the price of the holiday down there. It's 700 quid's worth towards your holiday. It is by far and away the biggest raffle prize that we've done here on United People's TV. It's the summer. It's hot. You can get away. It's really hot. It's really hot a lot of places. But yeah, just get your raffle ticket down there. It's only £1 per ticket. Is it Charlie last month for £1 won a Bose soundbar and a 50-inch 4K TV for £1. Unbelievable, Jeff. Alex, as is the raffle draw is the exact same time every single month. Right at the end of the month, the winner is chosen. The new raffle begins. Every single month, it's the exact same. But yeah, Amrabat, let's move back to here and let's start talking about sales, right? I've always maintained that that's the thing that's the thing I've been more concerned about in this transfer window, has been sales, or the lack thereof, right? We go back to the board and we can see all the sort of links that we've had. We've got Dean Henderson with Nottingham Forest, Elanga with Everton and Forest actually being linked. We've got Fred with Galatasaray. I think they came with a stupid bid for him. Also been linked with Fulham. Tellez with Al Nassr. And Maguire has been linked with West Ham. Now, you got the Athletic reporting that Forest are now they've informal talks with Manchester United over a deal to sign Dean Henderson, which is a deal that absolutely has to happen. And I said this yesterday, I think. But if you imagine this summer, what Manchester United might be doing, Butland was only here on loan, so he left. Then you've got De Gea leaving, so that's 2 goalkeepers. And then Onana coming in, that's 3 goalkeepers. Then you've got Dean Henderson, should be leaving to Forest, 4 goalkeepers. Then you've got maybe Tom Heaton going on loan to Luton. If we sign someone like Zion Suzuki, that's 6 goalkeepers. And then maybe what happens with Matej Kovar, 7 goalkeepers. Bishop, maybe 8 goalkeepers. In the same summer, you might get 8 goalkeepers in and out of Manchester United on loans, deals, free transfers, permanents. It's a lot of goalkeeper roulette and movement. And Dean Henderson is the one that has to absolutely leave. Samuel Luckhurst reporting here. It is understood Forest initially proposed another loan deal with an obligation to buy if Henderson made a certain number of appearances, but United just want to sell him. And the price that's being quoted there from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. I'll wait for some more information on this from anywhere else. 20 million? I'd say 50 million. That's a bit keen. I personally think Dean Henderson is worth more than 20 mil. That's basically what I think City are selling James Trafford to Burnley for. And he's an under-21s goalkeeper. He's not made a single first-team appearance. I think it should be up to 30 million rather than 20 million. And that's where I suppose a real test of Man United's transfer ability will be. As much as I can praise, and I will praise, the price of Onana, when it comes to the price that we're getting for players we sold, that's what I want to see improved on. And the Iqbal situation was a bit, I know we got a massive sell-on clause, but that was, should have got more for Iqbal. Was it Ethan Laird as well? I thought was slightly undervalued. We'll find out. But Henderson should be a 30 mil sale, in my opinion. Now, if you want to talk about cheek, I think this absolutely falls straight into that category. Right? This is West Ham, who have just got £105 million for Declan Rice. And they come knocking on Manchester United's door, saying, right, lads, can we sign Maguire on loan, please? Honestly, it's the sort of thing like you surely would laugh. You just laugh down the phone without saying anything back and just put it down. That is you have to admire the shithousery, because they are chancing it with that one. West Ham, I've stood by the fact that West Ham, I believe, would be really a good signing. Really would be a good signing for West Ham. I think he'd suit West Ham's style, slower, less pressure on the build-up. He'd probably be more like the Leicester version of Maguire, the one that we thought we were signing. And maybe have for a little bit. But trying to sign him on loan when he just got 105 mil is, it's like, good luck, lads. So let's see what goes on there, because obviously United are not going to be sending Maguire out on loan. Maybe a loan with an obligation to buy that's a good value, but even then, I think United would rather just sell him and get him done. Now, of course, another transfer that could technically happen, if Manchester United were to sell Maguire, we could well go here and go for Axel Disasi. We've been linked with Disasi, we've been linked with Todibo. We obviously got linked with Kim Min-jae, but I mean, it felt like that didn't really go that far because of where it fell in our priorities list. The striker was more important. That's why we were locked in talks there of a potential Harry Kane deal that apparently won't happen, but now he's being linked with Bayern Munich. Could United go back in? I don't know. Let's find out. Then Mason Mount, that was the focus. And then the goalkeeper. A right-sided centre-back is like 4th, maybe 5th. If a right-sided centre-back was our priority this summer, we would have signed Kim Min-jae. Ah, look at that. Fabrizio Romano giving me an update live and direct on a transfer I was about to talk about. This is why you join in live. Right? I'll bring you the news as soon as it happens. because I want this one. I personally think this should be 30 million, 40 million, 60, 140 million. No, but seriously, we're talking about Europa League winning. Alex Telles here. The here we go is going to be soon. He's saying there's a verbal agreement now in place between the two clubs, waiting for the documents. Al Nassr want both Seka Fofana and Telles to join. Good. Alex Telles, man, that was a disappointment. That was a disappointment. I thought we were sounding like a Champions League proven top quality left back. I was like, yeah, good. The only thing he did was just make Shaw sick. He was basically Shaw's motivational signing. But look, given the amount of money that Saudi Arabia have got, 10 million. 10 million. Come on. At least. 20 million. No, man. 30, 40, 50. I keep getting excited. I know I do. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano confirming there that Al Nassr are closing in on a deal to sign Alex Telles. And that should be a good bit of money. Happy days. Bringing you that live and direct, all the sort of defender conversations here. But yeah, any move for a right-sided centre-back is dependent on Maguire leaving and then us having the time to actually bring one in. So I suppose it depends what goes on. I saw a few people talking about João Palhinha down there. He'd be a good signing. But we're not going to be spending that much on a player in that particular position. That's why Amrabat would be the choice. Where is it? Amrabat? Where's Amrabat? I've lost my Amrabat. There he is. He'd be the choice out of those two. Well, we don't have, that's why we've not gone after Caicedo. And that's why we weren't really ever in for Declan Rice. I wish we were in, because Caicedo for me is the midfield signing I would love Manchester United to make this summer. But yeah, we just can't afford it, basically. Diego Silva, Sam, you crazy for 10 mil? Should be at least 20 mil. 50 mil for Telles, it says on Phil. Should be 20 mil, right? Come on, United, do your job. You got Saudi Arabia calling, just add a couple of zeros on. They're going to pay it anyway. But if this doesn't deserve a like on this video, then I don't know what will. But that man there, Marcus Rashford, holding both the Players, Player of the Year and the Samat Busby Fans Player of the Year awards at the end of last season. And we've got confirmation here last night from Fabrizio Romano that he has signed a new contract, a new 5-year contract. Verbal agreement was reached 1 month ago, and now it's all signed and done. The contract until 2028. Marcus Rashford will be remaining a Manchester United player for the next 5 years. And I'm delighted about that. Maybe I don't sound it there, but genuinely I'm over the moon. I think the way he developed last season was spectacular. What he is to United is like what Phil Foden is to City, what Bukayo Saka is to Arsenal. He's that player that's come through the academy that just kind of stands head and shoulders above so many other people, and it would just hurt to see that player play for someone else. Bit like, Mason Mount joining Manchester United. But I'm delighted for it. And of course, there's people who are naturally angry. How is he getting a deal worth 325 grand a week? What are Manchester United doing with their wage structure? This is a disgrace. Or it's a bit relative to what's going on in football. Now, in the same way that we are talking about the madness here of this man and the fact that Atalanta are looking for somewhere in the region of 70 to 100 million euros. Marcus Rashford's contract falls in line with that. And you know why I'm saying that? Do you remember when Saka signed a new contract? Do you know how much he got? Let's scroll down and let's do this together. David Ornstein here confirming that he signed an agreement in the region of £50 million per year. Let's whip the calculator up. 15 million, 456, divided by 12. That's per month. Divided by 4, that's per week. 312,500, which is almost, you could say, pretty much bang on. That's what Rashford's got. Rashford isn't getting an absolute bucket load more than other players. He's absolutely relative to what Saka is earning at Arsenal. And it's just that's the way the contracts are gone, man. It's contracts are big. No, it shouldn't be that much. But geez, there's so much money in the Premier League and the Super League. It's now trickling down to the players and trickling down to the contracts that they are allowed to ask for. It's a lot, but it's relative. And I think that's what I would say to you about don't be getting offended and trying to say that he's like, oh, this is money grabber. It's only actually 50 grand. I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's only a 50 grand a week pay rise. You kidding me? But man, I'm delighted. I'm so happy that Rashford signed that. Get us a new striker to play alongside him, man. Get Rashford just purely on that left wing. Him and Garnacho going toe-to-toe and occupying that position. Because basically what will happen is Man United next season will have Hojlund or whoever it is, will have our main striker. And then when that striker comes off, Rashford will move in the middle and Garnacho will move into that position on the left. And you're down there saying 300K is the new 100K. It's just the way football has gone. That's the point I'm trying to make to you here. You're going to be looking at this and you might be doing what the Daily Mail are doing. A bit of this. I always find this weird. Like they just get... How can you make the number as big as possible? So they take how much he's earning a week, times it by 4, times it by 12, times it by the length of the contract, and all of a sudden you come up with a 78 million. That's how much we're paying Marcus Rashford. You're like, what? That's a way of manipulating. It's not that those numbers are incorrect, but that's about creating the reaction, the angry reaction to how is Marcus Rashford getting that much money? And it twists the way you think about it. You might not realize it's happening, but it's manipulating your thought process. And that's what they're doing there. They're trying to turn fans against Rashford for getting that much. Nigel, you're telling me I'm wrong. It's 288 grand a week. Well, okay, thank you, Nigel. I think I might just look at what the Times are writing here. I appreciate your comment, though. But yeah, it's a lot of dough. But as Ant said, 300K is the new 100K. 75 million is the new 30 million signing. Just the money, the numbers are just crazy. The numbers are mind-boggling, man. Absolutely mind-boggling. Do I think Rashford deserves it? Hell yeah, I do. Hell yes, I do. There's a couple of super chats there. Let me read these bad boys out. I don't like missing them. Sometimes I do. Dean, how you doing, buddy? People were crying because we never offered Pogba 400 grand a week. The same one's moaning at Rashford's pay, even though he's one that's been delivering. You see that I think Spurs are offering Harry Kane. Well, we're considering it. Spurs are considering offering Harry Kane 400 grand a week to stay and like a position of power when he retires as well. I'm delighted, Marcus Rashford. I'm going to read a few more of your comments out down here about Rashford. Let me see. Good money for our star boy based on the money in football these days. Mo, you're saying it's inflation. Didn't they say about 300 grand last night? Ewo with a really good question saying, is it performance incentives as part of the contract? I believe that's quite a bit of performance incentives. I don't know if there's any confirmation of that down here. Let's have a look. His present deal's worth 250 grand a week. Personal terms. No. There's nothing that I'm pretty certain that quite a lot of it is incentive based rather than just straight up 325 grand a week. But it is a lot, but it's totally relative. Oh, wow, man. Nick, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. Let me read this out. If both Fred and McTominay go this summer, West Ham interested in Scott, but decision's up to him apparently. Amrabat as Fred replacement. Would you take Sabitzer to replace Scott for 17 mil? Sabitzer, I quite liked Sabitzer last season, but I don't know whether it was because I was a little bit starved of other options and I might have overhyped how good Sabitzer was in my own head because I wanted him to be better. I think that was part of it with Sabitzer. I think he was okay. For 17 mil, would he be a bad squad signing? No, he probably wouldn't. But then at that level, I'd probably be having questions about whether Hannibal would have the ability to do that. Why would you not just give him that chance? I get what you mean. And also, if maybe I personally, I still kind of want us to go after Gravenberch. I'm still hoping that might be a little secret. We're talking about Amrabat being a perfect, alternative and option there. I think Gravenberch would really drop into that category as well. And not just for the fact that he's played under Ten Hag before, but he's actually a very good footballer. Jay, you say, no disrespect to Rashi, but how do you think players like Bruno feel? I imagine players like Bruno will renegotiate their contract. Has Bruno signed a new contract since he joined us? Bruno Fernandes. Try and find out when his contract expires. So his contract expires in 2026. That must be the initial. Did he sign a 6? Did he join in 2020? Yeah, he joined in 2020. I think it was a 5+1, wasn't he? Oh, he did. Did he sign a new contract? Bruno signs new. I can't remember that. Man United contract. There you go. Signed in April 2022. Well, you would imagine, given that was only a year ago, right? You would imagine that Bruno Fernandes got the right terms of that contract. And if he didn't, then his agent has not done his job properly. That's not up for Bruno Fernandes to decide that. That's up for Bruno's agents to sort it out. But yeah, I think the point I'm trying to get across here is don't jump on the bandwagon that the Daily Mail wants you to be on. Don't begrudge Marcus Rashford for earning that amount of money. Begrudge the game itself for being in the position that it is in, that those players get that much money. All right. I'm just delighted that he's staying here. By the way, he turned down more lucrative offers from other countries to stay here. And I tell you what, so did this man. Speaking about Bruno Fernandes. Speaking about Manchester United's future captain. Bruno rejected more than 2 approaches from Saudi clubs. I think it was probably tentative more than anything, but Al Nassr and whatever the one that Gerrard's joined, El Fatigue, something like that. It's definitely not that. Anyway, Saudi clubs approached Bruno. He said, "See you later. I'm not interested whatsoever." Bruno rejected approaches from Saudi Arabia. Marcus Rashford rejected approaches from clubs in England and clubs in Europe, presumably PSG was one of them. Said no. See ya. I'm staying at United. Now, that does go a long way. I really, 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 I'm so excited for the new season already. I really trust in Ten Hag. I trusted Ten Hag last year, and he didn't disappoint. Yeah, there were some bumps, and there will be more this season. But with that new goalkeeper, with Mason Mount, and hopefully with a new striker, whether that is Hojlund or someone else, if we get those 3 major signings in, then this summer can already be considered a success. And the scale of that success will depend on how good our sales are overall, and maybe whether or not we can get that extra 4 signing in to supplement Casemiro. But I can't wait for next season already. I really, really can't. I'm very excited for it. What else we got here? Now, that is the end of the talking points, actually. Last couple of minutes of the show, ladies and gents. Can you just fire in any questions that can be about football? Can be about anything else? Anything you don't think I've spoken about enough? As I've said, soon we're going to be reintroducing call-ins. At this point in the show, it's going to be a new perk for certain members, where you can call in and you can ask me your questions live and direct on the stream together for the last 5-10 minutes of every single morning show. So that's a cool little perk that I think everybody will enjoy. But yeah, the main stories for today: Onana, he's going to be flying to the UK tonight. Hopefully gets that contract and all that done by Wednesday, Thursday. We still don't know. Whether or not he's going to have that visa for America. I don't think he'll be there for the Arsenal game, but I hope he's going to be there for the Real Madrid game. And Man United are wasting no time, and we are going for Rasmus Hojlund straight away. 70 million euros is what Fabrizio is saying that Atalanta are valuing him at. Others are saying 100 mil. Don't know what it is, but let's find out. Then we've got Dean Henderson to Forest. Those formal talks have started. We've got West Ham trying to sneak in a loan bid for Maguire. Get screwed, man. Get absolutely screwed. Fabrizio confirming that Alex Telles, we're going to be getting a here we go very soon. And then we've spoken about Marcus Rashford and that new contract there. And that's one of my favourite photos from last year. And it's, yeah, I'm so delighted he's signing that new contract. Now, what are you saying down here in the comments? What do you think about our rival, says King Solomon? I don't see how we finished top 4 with that squad. Liverpool have got a new midfield. Might work. It might not. Might take time. I imagine it will take time. But they've got a new midfield. Arsenal look very good. I think they've signed very well. Havertz is one. I'm going to put Havertz in the sort of the Aaron Ramsdale part. You know, when Arsenal signed Ramsdale and everyone's like, that's a terrible signing. And he ended up being a great signing. I imagine that's what Havertz is going to be. City are still trying to sign Gvardiol, but they don't particularly need any more signings. Chelsea will be better. Newcastle have only got Tonali as a game-changing signing, but I imagine they're going to go and sign more. I'm confident about United next season, but it's going to be competitive. Hyper-competitive. Mick Corbett is saying Brandon Williams to the Championship. I think Brandon Williams should be following Alex Telles in finding a new club. I think Alvaro Fernandez, if we're looking at the pecking order, I think he's above Brandon Williams. I think that kind of tells Brandon all his time was, he had his chance, but that was at the time we were giving tons of debuts, and he just never had that much of an impact. I've asked this before, saying, Lyle, would you consider doing a spin-off show of UPTV, perhaps outside of the UK, as a view from the outside type of theme? I'm interested. That was a long, old question. Yeah, of course. I've got things lined up. Tons of things lined up. I've got so many things I need to complete first before I start doing other things. It's kind of annoyed me. I'm somebody who likes to get things finished, but I've got so many spinning plates at this moment in time that I've been a little bit slow in delivering things, and that really annoys me. But look, I'm going to wrap this show up now. Today's lunchtime video will be the starting 11 and all the questions that we need to ask about the second game against Lyon. Talking about Hannibal, talking about Mount, talking about the team in possession, the formation, Kovar, lots and lots of things. Right, that's going to be my lunchtime video. Thank you, everybody, for your support today. As always, please make sure you drop a like on the video. Alex, you're saying, look, Rashford and Bruno want to build that legacy at United. I absolutely think they do too. And that's a good way to go. That's a good way to go for it. Yeah, Lyle, you threw me off with that long question there. There's long questions and there's paragraphs, people. Don't send in paragraphs. But take it easy, right? And I'll see you soon.